Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start this lesson off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakakudash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are firmly pushing the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to all the sincere believers. Now, this lesson is going to be based on this article about 40 people killed in New Year's Day fire at Swiss ski resort, police say. So, first day of the year, and people already done got put to death. You know, just like I said in previous lessons, that this year, 2026, was going to be worse than last year. And the Lord has already kicked it off quite heavily. So through the Spirit, I'm going to read some of this article, get some precepts, and Lord's will, you're edified. Said, about 40 people were killed and around 115 others injured in a fire at a New Year's party in a Swiss ski resort bar, according to police. Authorities said many of the victims were young, and it will take days to identify all of them. Slovakia. Said one of Switzerland's most exclusive locales, Cranes, Montana, is known for sweeping vistas stretching from the Matterhorn to Mont Blanc. Authorities will be looking into the exact cause of the fire and if safety standards were upheld. Two witnesses told CNN affiliate BFM-TV that it was caused by sparklers placed in champagne bottles, but officials say it will take time to determine what started the blaze. Said video from outside Le Constellation Bar shows panic in the crowd as the blaze broke out. One witness said he heard screams and saw people lying on the ground in the aftermath. Says during an earlier press conference in the wake of the deadly fire at a Swiss resort, Patrice Ploud, the Attorney General for Valais Canton, said that a flashover is believed to have impacted the blaze. Palau noted that the exact circumstances are unclear, but investigators are looking into whether a flashover in which everything in a room ignites almost simultaneously caused an explosion at Le Constellation Bar. Said there are a lot of circumstances to clarify. Several hypotheses were put forward. The main theory we're prioritizing is a flashover that provoked a rapid explosion. Several witnesses have been heard, and there are telephones that were recovered to be analyzed. Today, flashover occurs when hot gases rise to the ceiling and spread across the walls, according to the National Fire Protection Association. The heat intensifies until all combustible items in the room reach their ignition point and catch fire. It says as temperatures soar to as high as 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, even firefighters in full protective gear are unlikely to survive, according to the NFPA. Said imagine you have a whole ceiling spreading fire very quickly. The amount of energy coming from that ceiling is coming down onto all of the other combustible objects in the entire facility. Said all of the objects pretty much ignite in a very rapid succession, and then the whole room becomes enveloped in fire, which is not survivable. So two witnesses, Axel and Nathan, told CNN affiliate BFM TV they couldn't breathe as clouds of black smoke filled their surroundings after a fire broke out at the Swiss resort. Unable to escape at first because of the large crowd trying to leave Le Constellation Bar, they decided to hide behind a table turned on its side to avoid contact with the flames. The only way out, they said, was through a window. After much effort, they managed to break a window open and escape. An eyewitness told the bar, Slakia, an eyewitness outside the bar told French television channel France 2 that they saw smoke and people banging on Le Constellation's windows as they tried to get out. Said there was a huge crowd movement, he added. Everyone was fighting to get out. It was quite difficult to watch. Yeah, see, this is what the Lord is doing. Slovakia. See, a lot of people wanted to celebrate the new year, and instead the Lord turned it into a nightmare. There have been so many incidents with sparklers and fireworks where, people are shooting off fireworks or, lighting sparklers, and it just turns into a disaster. And this is one example of it. Ecclesiasticus 39:28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them. And sore strokes were definitely laid upon those people at that bar. 40 people killed, apparently, and 115 injured. That's a lot of judgment right there. Verse 29, fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. And that fire resulted in the death of a lot of people and the injuries of even more people. Verse 30, teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. And 40 people, that number may change, as updates happen. But according to the article, 40 people got punished to destruction. 40 people died. Myself and other brothers said that this year was going to be worse than the last in regards to how much judgment the Lord was going to unleash. And this is one major kickoff to that. Hebrews 10:31. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. And that's right. Those people, they didn't stand a chance. The people who died, they were meant to die according to the will of the Lord. That's why out of all the people that were in that bar, those 40 people, and like I said, the number could change, once the updates happen. But those people who died, they were targeted by the Lord. And so were the people who got injured. But the people who died got it worse. And this is what the men of the Lord mean when they say that the Lord is not playing around. These people all they want to do is party. These simple-minded, wicked people, all they want to do is party and drink and do drugs and just not take anything seriously. And this is how that ends. Because we're in the last days. And we are in the days of heavy judgments continuously being brought upon these people. And in their ignorance, in their simplicity, in their folly, they're going to get destroyed. Psalm 7:11. Yahweh judgeth the righteous, and Yahweh is angry with the wicked every day. And that's why every day judgments are brought upon these people. people getting wounded and killed in fires, in shootings, in stabbings, in car crashes. It's just non-stop judgment day after day after day. And as I said in my previous lessons, that this year these judgments are going to be worse than they were last year. And a lot more wicked people are going to get wounded and get killed. Deuteronomy 32:39. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no power with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. And through his judgments, the Heavenly Father wounds and kills wicked people on a daily basis. And like I said, neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So those people who died, there was nothing that could have been done to save them, because the Lord had already set in motion that they were going to die. The Lord had already put it into place. It wouldn't have mattered how many fire extinguishers the people at the bar had. It wouldn't have mattered how fast the firefighters got there. Those people who were meant to die, died. And those people who were meant to be injured in that fire were injured in that fire. The will of the Lord is always going to come to pass. First Samuel 2:6, the Lord Yahweh killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. And that's right. The Heavenly Father kills people through his spirits that are created for vengeance. Like I read in Ecclesiasticus 39:28. Well, verse 29 anyway. It said death is a spirit of vengeance. So that death angel gets used quite often. Anytime a man, woman, or child dies, that was the Lord's death angel. That was his spirit of vengeance being used to execute his judgments. Because the Lord's spirits of vengeance don't make a move until the Heavenly Father gives them a green light to do so. Because the spirits of vengeance were created specifically to execute the judgments of the Lord. And they don't disobey the orders of the Lord. They always follow through with whatever the Lord wants them to do. And like it says in Romans 2:11, there is no respect of persons with Yahweh. So it doesn't matter. Man, woman, child, young, elderly, pregnant woman, doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. The Lord does not care about that. The Lord does not care if you're rich or poor, if you're famous, if you're homeless. It doesn't matter. If the Lord deems you to be wicked and he decides he wants to bring judgment upon you, then judgment is going to be brought upon you. And there's nothing anybody on earth or in heaven can do to stop the judgments of the Lord from going forth. Job 4:7, remember I pray thee, whoever perished, being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? And the answer is that nobody has ever perished being innocent, nor were the righteous ever cut off. So those people who died in that fire, they were not innocent in the eyes of the Lord. They were wicked, and the Lord had already marked them for death. All that needed to take place was the judgment itself being executed. And that's what happened. Verse 8, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. And that's what's taking place in these last days. These wicked people are reaping what they've sown. Because you know that the people celebrating the new year, they were not going to change their ways and start serving the Lord. No, they were just going to continue to be wicked. There's so many people that I've seen specifically on Twitter that just said that that the new year they were going to get even crazier. They were going to do more crazy things. Whatever stuff that they were doing last year, they were only going to do that even more. And this is why we say that these people love provoking the Lord unto wrath, because this is their mindset. They have no fear of the Lord. So if they were doing drugs a lot before, they're just going to do more. If they were drinking a lot before, they're just going to drink more. If they were partying too much, they're just going to party more. They're just consumed with being wicked. And that's why the Lord is putting these people to death, because there is no helping them. There is no saving them. They just have to die. And it sounds harsh, but that's the truth. Because these people are just on an endless path of self-destruction. So the Lord, he's just speeding it up. Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Verse 2, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And for those people at that bar, at that ski resort and bar, it was their time to die. For the ones who did perish, it was their time. And this year is going to be filled with a lot more people being put to death, whether it's because of fires, earthquakes, storms and tempests, shootings, stabbings, car crashes, plane crashes, helicopter crashes, animal attacks. People drowning, people starving to death, people getting struck by lightning, people getting crushed by a falling tree during a storm. Whatever it is. This year, more people are going to die than last year. Every year, more people are going to die than the year previous, because the judgments of the Lord are going to continue to increase upon the earth every year. But those of us of the hopeful elect, we always have to keep in mind that these people are not innocent. Okay, they were being wicked in the eyes of the Lord. They provoked the Heavenly Father unto wrath with their continual wickedness. So there was no other option than for the Lord to put them to death. This whole, you can do whatever you want, you only live once. That's a very wicked spirit to have. Because basically, that's putting you in the mindset of no matter what you do, it doesn't matter. But in the eyes of the Lord, it does matter, because the Lord hates wickedness. He is not okay with people being out here doing the things that they're out here doing. Chasing money, doing drugs, committing adultery, eating abominable foods, getting tattoos, all of this wickedness that people just enjoy doing. They've gotten so accustomed to it because we live in these wicked societies that promote it. People get rewarded in these wicked societies for being evil and wicked. But what they don't understand is that while you may get rewarded and praised for being wicked in these societies, you're basically setting yourself up to be destroyed by the Lord. And more people are going to continue to die because they don't fear the Lord. Even though the men of the Lord are constantly warning people and letting them know, like, hey, that wickedness that you're doing, eventually it's going to catch up to you. Eventually, the Lord is going to send his spirits of vengeance upon you. But, these people, they have to learn the hard way. And so that's just what it is. And that's why those of us of the hopeful elect, we don't feel bad for these people when they get wounded or when they get killed. Because they had the warnings. The men of the Lord. Salakia. The men of the Lord, starting of course with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, have been warning people for decades. But these wicked, simple-minded, ignorant people, they just will not listen. And even the people who just get injured or wounded, that's the Lord basically sending them a warning shot. Letting them know, like, hey, I could have easily taken your life. But see, these people, they don't acknowledge, they don't think like that. The Lord could have almost killed them, but then didn't kill them. And instead of these people looking at that situation and being like, yeah, I should get my act together because I don't want to go through that again, they just double down on their wickedness. And so the Lord, he's not even messing around with these people. He's just wiping them out, just killing them off. And that's them reaping what they've sown. And they're going to continue to reap what they've sown. Because they're going to continue to sow wickedness and evil. And the anger of the Lord is going to continue to fall upon them. And this, like I said, this was one heavy way for people to kick off the new year. Either getting put in the spirit world or almost being put in the spirit world for the people who got injured. And it's only going to get worse from here. So all of us of the hopeful elect, we should see these judgments and internalize that and keep that fear of the Heavenly Father that keeps us moving on this straight and narrow righteous path, because we're seeing what happens to those whom the Lord is angry with. And if you have any type of common sense, you don't want those type of judgments to befall you or your loved ones. So stay locked in, continue to watch, continue to stay prayed up, continue to stay fervent and diligent in this faith, because the Lord is really not messing around in these last days. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. Closing, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakudash, the water Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to our brothers who are still fervently pushing the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to all the sincere believers. Hope you all stay strong, stay safe, stay fervent, stay circumspect, stay prayed up. Adawan Ratazah. Till next time, Shalom.